Greetings, and great day, everybody. So, this message is for the women who have got it going on, who have been achieving, doing your thing, and built some amazing lives despite the pain of your past, right? Despite some childhood trauma, especially sexual, that you experienced, right? And all the things that came with that. So, though you are powerful, you are strong, right? Yet there are times when that creeps up on you, right? In your private time, in your quiet moments, you see the effects in relationships, and that voice in your head sometimes that tells you that you're not enough, right? And trust and believe, we're going to get you past hearing that and listening to that and changing that, alchemizing that real quick, right? But this video is about 10 things that you, that successful, high achieving woman, needs to hear, right? So we finished the series where we talked about the 10 things that your success is hiding about your trauma. Go back and check that out in the shorts, if you will. And before we go any further, let me say hello and introduce myself. I'm not sure that I've actually done that on this channel officially, so let us rewind that a little bit. So I am Joy. I have been a professional dominatrix and hypnotist for over a decade, actually hitting on almost 15 years. Something I absolutely love doing, and also have been coaching women and people in general, right? But definitely women and my successful women about how to get more happiness, more health, better relationships in your life, and to stop the shame, the guilt, the fear that trauma has left in your life, right? And just because we don't talk about it doesn't mean that it just goes away, right? It doesn't, right? That's the thing. It has these effects in your life, and it's running the show from the background, right? The shame, amongst other things. Maybe not something that you think about all the time, but you can recognize those emotions, right? You can recognize the times where it comes up, where a host of things happen, right? You wanting to say no, but saying yes, not having boundaries, putting yourself to the back burner, over overachieving, right? And it just never enough, right? Continuing to have to prove yourself and still not feeling worthy, right? There's so much that has come up. So I'm excited that we get to actually just touch on 10 things today that you, my successful sister, who has dealt with this trauma, need to hear, right? And we can even say that it's that young sister girl inside, right? The inner child, the inner goddess in you, and what she needs to hear. So let's go into number one. And I do have me some notes here. So number one is, of course, you are not defined by your trauma. You never have been. You won't be unless you're still in a place where you are still judging yourself, right? So we want to move past the judgment of ourselves, right? And recognize that that trauma does not define you. You are perfect, you are whole, you are complete, you are amazing, you are magnificent, you are resilient. You have alchemized and created a life of abundance and success and of creating, right, what you were brought here to do. You have created so much and helped so many. How could something that someone has done to you mean that it changes who you are, right? Never, could never change who you are becoming, who you came to this planet as and who you came here to be, right? So, no, 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 no. You are never going to be defined by your trauma. All right. And as somebody who absolutely has gone through childhood sexual assault, actually on more than one occasion, unfortunately, I do know the struggle, right, of really just looking for answers, of having, the hurtful, painful feelings that come along with even the thoughts of being taken advantage of and violated and hurt, not feeling heard, right? Not feeling like it mattered, like I mattered, right? Needing to overachieve and overprove as if it was going to change a label that I ended up ultimately putting on myself, right? Taking on the burden of someone else who was likely hurt, right? Who likely had some others, right? That they needed to deal with. And then bringing that onto me, my body, right? Trespassing on my vessel. I remember exactly how that felt, to really hurt with those feelings, to really be in pain behind those feelings before I liberated myself, right? And recognizing that you absolutely deserve that liberation, just like forgiveness, right? So you will never, ever, ever, ever be defined by your trauma and what someone else did to you, right? So, number two, your success is proof of your strength. Okay, now I know, we tired of being strong out here, right? That's being strong is no longer a compliment like it probably was back in the day, especially as a black woman, right? A melanated woman, that strong black woman trope. Ain't nobody really trying to sit and hold that no more like that. But let me tell you this, we going a little further than that, because babe, you are still here. You are standing. You are achieving. You are moving forward. You have become a stronger, an amazing vessel that is doing your part in helping and changing the world, no matter how you do that, right? So yes, you have a strength in you that there is no one who could take that away. There is no thing that could take that away, right? So, yes, at times it will feel like we are putting on a mask, right? Like we are hiding, a lot of times childhood trauma is something that is just not talked about, right? Even with and just outstanding numbers that happen, to men and women, right? The outstanding numbers of this. And still, it is something that is unspoken. It is something that is hidden. It is something that is kept secret. And unfortunately, if that was able to just take it away, then it would have, right? The effects wouldn't be there. But as a hypnotist, something that I learned a long time ago, and probably even before I was certified, is that there is a conscious mind, right? And there is an unconscious mind. And that unconscious mind is so incredibly overpowering, right? And has much, much more to do with the thoughts that we think, the words that we speak, the actions that we take. So just because we're not speaking about something does not mean that we don't have a part of that we are still have a lot of times an internal battle against, right? And again, it's coming up and not allowing us to be happy, not allowing us to be healthy, right? We are holding on to pain and sickness and dis-ease in our bodies. And that is not going away just because we don't discuss something, right? And I'm not saying that you have to, right? I absolutely don't want you to feel like you have to share what you have gone through. But at the same time, just not dealing with it, just acting like it doesn't exist, is still causing you pain, right? It's still driving your life, right? The shame, the guilt, the fear, it is still unconsciously set in because you still feel like there is something that you have done that's wrong, right? And yes, it is causing you to work hard. It is causing you to overprove. It is causing you not to say no and not to have boundaries, right? And at the same time, it has driven you to be successful. But in so many areas of your life, it has stopped, right? The overall happiness that you want, desire, deserve to be living in. All right. So we absolutely want to use that strength, right? As we see, we are strong because of all the things that we have overcome, how far we have come, and how resilient we have been. And now we can actually use that and continue to rise above, right? Continue to love on ourselves more, to appreciate ourselves more, to forgive ourselves, to love on ourselves, and to truly step into the energy that we were meant to live on this planet. And trust me, I know we've spent so much time in one place. Then trust me, boo, it's gonna take just a little bit of time to get to the other side, but you absolutely deserve it, okay? And you're gonna get that coming around here messing with me, okay? So, three, okay, is, and let's remind you that this is number 3 on the list of the 10 things for high successful women with childhood trauma that you need to hear. Okay, so number 3 is healing is a journey, not a destination. Okay, so I have gone through many years, right? And many different phases on the healing journey, right? From going through my trauma to deciding that I was going to take my power back in my hands as a teenager and becoming promiscuous, right? Feeling like this was a way for me to gain power, to take my life and my body and my feelings and my desire, right, in my hands versus someone else taking it in theirs. And so I went through this stage of being promiscuous. Then I went into a relationship, and just a little plug here. I do have a book. We'll talk about that later. So I went through the stage of, okay, well, I'm gonna settle down. Became a house girlfriend, right? Right after high school. It's like, nope, we ain't gonna go away to college. Just community college is good enough. We're going to stay here. We're going to love on our man. We're going to take care of this household. Girl, look. Anyway, I don't advise it, but that was part of what I did, right? And that didn't work out for me, right? I was not happy in that. I wasn't being treated right. So I decided, okay, I'm going to move out. I'm going to, fully take my power in my living situation. And not long after, into moving and going to a different country to study. And throughout most of that time, I actually was a bit more chaste during that, just starting to really kind of heal. Actually, after losing my father, that was when I went on a whole different level of a healing journey, right? So was celibate for a pretty long time, but during that, creating a life, and after I actually graduated college, right, decided that I was going to really do something for me, right? Still on this healing journey, still, working through trauma and different things that it was stopping me from doing in my life. And, there's been levels to it, there's levels to it. But ultimately finding domination and bringing that into my life as something that, hey, we'll have another conversation about all the all the reasons and ins and outs and why that drew me and I enjoyed that so much. But also found it as another way that I was looking to take my power back, right? That I was looking to do what I enjoyed, to be a boss, to be in charge of my financial situation, to put myself in a position to make money from anywhere in the world, because I recognize that I love to travel now, to be able to meet all kind of people and to be able to help them embrace a part of themselves that they feared that the rest of the world would find out about. And it was so intriguing because the more clients that I had, the more clientele that I built, it was like this is so prevalent that it doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter your race, your age, your background, even your where you live. We're all over the world. People are, not able to feel the wholeness of who they are, not able to live in the pleasure, right, that they enjoy, not able to have thoughts or interests around things that just didn't suit other people, right? Just people everywhere, just in these mental cages. So I felt like it just made sense to be able to help them get out of these mental cages, right? Now, of course, as a dominatrix, I did put them in some, but that's a little different. That's a little different. So it was different, and they paid for that. But anyway, I recognize that really most of the people in this world are in a mental prison, right? And have shames and fears and guilts that they're hiding, and they're I want to say that they're living through, but they are suffering through, right? Like there is a misery that they have underneath, right? And still continuing to, as I was helping them in this, unorthodox, untraditional way, it was also allowing me to help myself, right? And to appreciate me more, to appreciate, you know, um, all the things that I enjoyed, right? Saying yes to myself, saying yes to all of the things. At one point it was funny because I recognized that I needed more healing because I had a problem with receiving, right? I was pushing back, getting presents and tributes and donations and all these different things. And it was almost like at one point it was a little overwhelming where I pushed back from it, right? So little things like that, things have to come up to the surface because they're living unconscious, right? They're living in that darkness. So bring them to the light. We get a chance to heal from that, to grow from that, right? So the healing, it is a journey, right? And at a certain point, of course, we can, declare ourselves healed. And at the same time, recognizing that all that is out there is because it is in here, right? So when certain things come up and trigger, just getting curious, right? Being a little playful around it and finding the trueness, right? That gets you out of feeling like there's a problem, right? Or that there is something here that cannot, is first of all, isn't meant to be. Because I do believe that everything is still working for your highest good, right? Even these triggers, they're meant to come up so that you can see what is under the surface so that you can heal through that and transcend through that and alchemize that into whatever energy you want because it's all energy, baby. So moving along. I know people a couple things in there. But we're gonna stay on task. We're gonna stay on task too. Let's see how long we're going. Okay, we don't want to overdo this. We're on number 4 now. Number 4, okay, is it's okay to ask for help. My baby, it is okay. You were never ever meant to do this alone. You are not all alone, right? It doesn't matter if that is therapy, if that's a support group, if that's someone that you trust, if you calling up a strange look. Okay, so I did the phone line thing, okay, as a dominatrix, right? And some of that was, hypno sessions, some of that was just kink related sessions, and some of that was just venting. Some of that was just because someone needed to be heard and they needed to ask for help outside of people who they felt would judge them, right? Because that's where we end up. That's why we definitely going to talk a whole lot about staying curious, because if not, then we put ourselves in the prison that judgment creates, right? And that a lot of times is the reason why we can't ask for help, right? When we know we deserve it. And maybe we don't know we deserve it, right? But let me tell you, you absolutely freaking deserve it. And you were never meant to do it all alone. And there is no reason to. It is one thing that helping women unleash their dominatrix. I am quick to let you know, as a dominatrix, that was actually one of the first times that I learned the power of allowing other people to serve you. We are all here to serve one another, to serve this planet, right? Right? I mean, that's not what we see looking around, but absolutely. Just as Mother Nature and Mother Earth serves us, feeds us, nurtures us, keeps our lungs clear, right? Keeps us excited about all the beauty of it, all the abundance of it. It is serving us. And we find ways to serve it back as well. We are here to help one another. And you deserve to be served. Just as I already know, girl, you serving everybody. I already know. That's why I'm like, unleash this dominatrix, because you already know what it's like to submit. You already know what it's like to be a submissive to this crazy world and the programming that they help you put yourself in, the box, the prison that they help you put yourself in. I mean, so why not ask for help? Why not allow yourself to lay back a little bit and be served? Why not allow yourself to have the recognition and understanding that you are not alone? And you are not alone even in this trauma that you've gone through, even in these feelings that you feel, in these emotions that you have, in these thoughts that you have, in the way that your relationship is going, in the way that your happiness is affected. You are not alone, and you never were meant to do it alone. Right? So please remember that. It's number 5. Remember number 5, please. Okay. So number 5 in the list of 10 things that the successful woman dealing with childhood trauma needs to hear. Boundaries are your superpower. Right? And this, so important. So important. Because let's be honest, right? You likely have a hard time saying no. And I'm not saying that you never say no, but I'm saying that it's likely in those most vital times when you need to be giving yourself love, when you need to be giving yourself the opportunity to go after your desires, your dreams, just have fun, just because, no reason, take time off, take a bath, take a break, take a trip. Look, right now, look, we ain't even gonna get into it, okay? But I decided, and it's funny, I laughed about it. About 2 years ago, I lived in Vegas. Actually went there during the whole cold thing. We won't talk too much about that, but I said, you know what, I love to travel, but I do not want to leave the US right now. So I did some brainstorming. I'm just kind of like, where would I like to go, right? Where would I like to be? At the time I was in Atlanta, excuse me, or in the outskirts of Atlanta. And I just decided, you know what, I was inspired. I should say, excuse me, because I did ask the question. About a week later, I was inspired to move to Vegas. So I want to say the time between that was, I don't know, maybe a couple months, right? A few months. And so next thing you know, I'm in Vegas, and that was a whole whirlwind that we will talk about one day. And but while I was there, I recognized that I am definitely not a sister for a desert. Okay, you can visit the desert, but sister's not made to be there on long periods. Okay, I'm just not. Okay, some things you should probably know beforehand, but some things you try it out anyway, right? Life is about experiences, so you try it out anyway just to know. Okay, that ain't for a sister. But I did try it for 2 years. But I thought about the other day how I forgot that while I was there, I started buying bathing suits, right? If I would see a bathing suit that I loved, I enjoyed. Now, mind you, I'm in the desert, right? Now, there's pools and stuff like that, but I really wasn't even in to go into too much of the pools and all that. So, but I said to myself that I'm going to move to a place where this is part of my daily attire, right? Bathing suits, right? I deserve to, and I bought robes, I bought some pretty cover ups. I mean, I was mostly Amazoning it up. And I had this collection that, for the most part, I kept a lot with me through my travels. I did end up going back to Georgia for a short time, and but I kept a lot of those bathing suits. And so a little earlier last year, I asked myself, actually mid last year, I decided that I wanted to go to somewhere else. I wanted to spend some time somewhere else for my 40th birthday. And so I'm like, I should spend a month because, like, I deserve a month, right? Like, I haven't been out the country in a while, and I want to really get back into traveling again. I did travel a little bit through 24, but it was, in the country. So I'm like, I want to go international. So let's just say things worked out amazingly, and I found myself in Tulum, Mexico for a month for my birthday, and I really enjoyed myself. It was a beautiful, beautiful way. Like, that was just, my gift to myself, right? And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay. Okay, I'm gonna do what it takes, and I'm gonna stay. Okay, so I did, and I am still actually currently in Tulum, Mexico, and I realized yesterday that I created this almost 2 years ago with that thoughts of me moving to a place where bathing suits could pretty much be my everyday attire, because I was like on another yacht party yesterday and just love the ocean. But anyway, I was in another bathing suit, and as I looked at the picture, it came to me. It was like, girl, you created this, and you knew you deserved this, and you were absolutely in a place at that time where it was like, girl, you're in the middle of the desert, okay? And you chose to come to the and I did. Even my mom was like, I thought you'd have been on the island, like the desert, right? It was so confusing to all of us, right? But I created that. And in doing that, had to put up some very strong boundaries all throughout that process, actually, all throughout it. We'll go deeper into that another day. But those boundaries that you put up, creating a space where you allow yourself to say no, to decide what it is that you are creating and saying no to everything else outside of that. It's going to hurt some people's feelings. It's going to make some people feel like they're not as valuable to you as they once felt like they were. And of course, they still are. But these boundaries are going to be what absolutely creates that happiness, that healthiness, and healthier relationships that you want in your life. And guess what? You also become an example and encourage them to set these boundaries up for themselves too, especially your children, right? I say I'm so grateful that I had a mother who went on vacation, right? Who traveled, who did not say having two children, or excuse me, didn't allow having two children to stop her from dropping us off where we needed to be. Now, I wouldn't mind if she took us with her or whatever. But I love that she took that time for herself, right? And took herself on vacations and traveled and set up those boundaries that allowed me to then have some independence and to recognize, yeah, there is way more to this world than just being in this tiny town, which no disrespect, but many of the people that I grew up with are in the same place where we grew up. And it would be cool if they was the happiest people, but I'm listening to it anyway. So it's okay to be selfish. Putting up boundaries, that's the first thing you're going to hear is that you are being selfish, right? You are stopping someone else from getting what they needed from you because you are giving what you need to give to yourself. And I'm telling you, boo boo, right now, yeah, you're going to have to do that, right? I don't care if that is once a day, right? Just practicing, just starting small, right? Allowing yourself to say no when you would have said yes. And of course, this is about you. So creating that space for you to have time for yourself, to just be in silence, to be in meditation, to take a walk, right? I've had a new goal this year to make sure that I'm walking at least 8,000 steps a day. That's 4 miles. And ultimately, I would prefer 10,000 as 5 miles. But taking that time for myself, for my body, for taking that breath to explore, right? I'm walking down or going down a different neighborhood almost every day to explore, to allow my mind to expand, to be at peace, to be at calmness, which I have had a whole new sense of since moving to Mexico. It's been amazing for me. Almost got me chilling too hard, okay? So, so but that's okay. And allowing myself to have that, right? Not because I've worked hard for all this time, and trust I have, but because I deserve it and I desire it. And it's my pleasure. Okay? So know that for your energy, for your peace, for your healing, those boundaries are the most powerful and important thing that you have. And they are going to create absolutely what you are looking for, my good girl. So, number six, okay, of the 10 things that the successful woman with childhood trauma needs to hear. Your needs are not too much. Okay, let me say that again for you. Let me say, your needs are not too much. Okay, and I know at times you may think that I know the world we live in, baby doll. Trust me, I know the world we live in. I know they trying to make you think. Okay, let me relax. I get amped up. I'm very cool and calm, but at times I can get a little amped up. Okay, and when I think about the brainwashing and the programming that happens in this world, the channels, right? That push you into a state of misery, of fear, of shame, right? It makes you feel like on top of your trauma, right? So it's like it's reinforcing, and it makes you feel like you should not be asking for anything. As a successful woman, it's gonna make you feel like, girl, you got it all. What? Oh, you ain't happy? Like, how you ain't happy? Such and such would be happy in your position. Well, I would be happy in your position. You just want too much, right? You just don't know when to be satisfied. Because absolutely, you gotta be satisfied, right? Let me tell you what I was supposed to be satisfied with. I was supposed to be satisfied with going to school, getting good grades, going to college, graduating to get me a good old job, okay? Corporate, government, whatever, right? Just make sure you get them benefits. Ain't mad at it. Praying for everybody, making sure you know, those benefits stay intact to be able to help those who have worked their whole life and given into a system that may decide not to give back to them. But back to the program, right? Get married, right? Have some children, live in a house, with my white picket fence, with 2.5 kids and a dog, and, just live my days. And that, I wasn't feeling it, right? I actually knew from pretty early on why I love learning. I love education. I love the fact that I, had post, high school education. Cool, I got diplomas. Cool, I continued to go on because I recognized right after that master's that I'm not trying to go into corporate like that. Like, okay, I'll come into corporate and speak. Okay, I'll come into corporate and do some training. But coming into corporate and following all the rules and you tell me when to do this and I can't take a day off and if I did have children and they get sick, all of the things that come with that, right? It wasn't the road that I wanted to take. So I took a different road and I'm so grateful I did. But at the same time, I've recognized pretty early on that if I chose to do something different, or, right, even if I chose to go down that path, I really would have had to just been okay with whatever was given to me. Not ask for more, not say no, right? And just be glad that I was given the opportunity, right? Even though I worked for it, right? Even though I put in the time and the energy, right? As we all do, right? Still being looked at as if, how dare you want more than this? How dare you think that you're so special, that you're supposed to have more, that you are supposed to want different than what you're being given. You absolutely deserve whatever it is that you desire, and you are not asking for too much. And as you might already know, you're asking the wrong one, because the only person who needs to decide what is right for you is you. And the only thing that we're working our way around here is making sure that you, right, as I had to, allow ourselves the space to have even more, right? Even more joy, even more happiness, even more love, even more abundance, even more ease, even more pleasure, right? That dirty freaking word. Yes, you deserve it. And you're going to have it with me, okay? So, no, your needs are not too much. They are probably not even enough, okay? 'Cause once you find out who you are and all that's coming through you and all you came on this planet to do, trust me, ain't even enough, okay? So, number 7, okay, of the 10 things that every successful woman with childhood trauma needs to hear. And actually just lens from the last one we discussed. Feeling pleasure isn't shameful. It's your right. Okay, one more time. Feeling pleasure is not, will never be shameful. It's your right. Right? So for many women, especially with sexual trauma, pleasure can be like, ooh, 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 danger, zone, danger, and shame. so much shame, right? Gotta have the lights on, shame for how you look, shame that you can't please this person in the way, even though you ain't even probably being pleased. Oh my God, don't get me started on that. My sisters out here. You deserve it. You deserve that pleasure, okay? And I know you get hard to give it out, okay? So stop acting, okay, you ain't acting, right? Ain't none of us acting, well, we are acting. But you deserve all that pleasure and then some, right? It was just something that, especially as a dominatrix, right? So ultimately, for the most part, dominatrix as a profession wouldn't really be a thing if shame around pleasure wasn't a thing. So take a moment with that, right? So not everything that I did was of sexual nature. Actually, a lot of it wasn't, right? And now, it's still definitely considered, an adult, right, type of profession. But, a little bit of a difference on that scale. Either way, every client that came to me had shame around their interests, their desires, feelings, their wants, their pleasures, right? Whether that was, dressing up in soft, pretty things for men, um, having shame around, oh, check this one, right? Having shame around wanting to be dominated. What's so intriguing about that to me is that if you look out into the world, right, the world that we're in, it is all about domination, all about it, right? Like I said, from putting people in mental prisons to putting them in shame riddled guilt to keeping them in fear around what's around every corner. Don't go to this country. People are telling me how, stay safe, stay safe. And I promise you, every time they tell me to stay safe, I want to tell them, make sure you stay safe. Okay, because I know where you live and I know what the rates are around there. But either way, right? Sidebar. But this shame that comes up around feeling pleasure, around having fun, right? Around living a life where you express the natural God-given talent that you have, right? It's like, get a job, right? We saw that yesterday on TikTok, with the whole TikTok thing. It was so many people of get a job, get a job, get a job, where these people are living more in their freedom, right? More in their creative energy, allowing themselves to work from home, to be able to have, um, you know, work with their children when it comes to homeschooling and or just being able to have a schedule where they could take them to school, pick them up, have extra time with them, travel with them, all of the extra things that come from this new, right? Because it's still very new. The internet's still very new, right? So this new economy from social media and TikTok being one that has allowed not only for different information to come, but and be shared and spread, communities to be built, but also for people to have an economy where they are in control of, and somehow they are being shamed because they made the decision to step out and be creative, right? To step out of what the norm is, right? And decide that they were going to create a path for themselves based on betting on themselves, right? Based on deciding that all of the time, energy, and everything that I give to a corporation, I'm going to actually put into one that allows me to control my income, control my life, control my finances, control my happiness, right? And they are being shamed to go back into the box, right? Nothing wrong with the job. Absolutely not, right? We don't do no job discrimination around here. But I did find it quite interesting, and the energy ultimately really felt more of like a, you know, if we got to get beat down, then you got to get beat down too kind of energy, if that makes sense to you. So the same type of energy, especially for women, is one where there's an energy of shame, right, being put out around a woman having pleasure, right? It's the reason why so many women haven't had orgasms. So many women don't even know what it feels like to be able to contain so much pleasure pulsating through their bodies, right? To be able to feel the magnitude of just stepping out of their norm and moving to another place for 2 weeks, right? Traveling, right? To another place for 2 weeks, to a month, to raising their family the way that feels right for them, right? To all these different ways to have pleasure and fun in your life that you absolutely deserve, absolutely was always yours. Would not make a sense. Come on, from pleasure you got here. Okay, it's how you got into your mama's womb. Okay, so the healing, okay, along with the spiritual aspects of being in play and pleasure and fun could never be a shameful thing. While it might feel like there is still some effects of this trauma, that's what we want to move out of the way and transform and transmute until you recognizing how you deserve all of that pleasure, all of that fun, all of that play, all of the things that light you up with joy. Because, I mean, if you're looking to have a happy life, then the pleasure, I mean, we need more versus more of the misery, right? It's hard to get to that happy life through that line of misery after misery after misery, right? After you've already been a victim, now victimizing yourself over and over. No, you're done with that. Right? So you deserve pleasure in every area of your life, and you're gonna get that. Okay, so number eight. So the little girl, the little goddess in you deserves love and safety. Again, that little girl, that little goddess in you deserves love and safety, right? So some would say that our brains ultimately haven't grown too much more than about, 8 to 12 years old, right? So, and some of us can see that where we might have different things that trigger us, and we kind of, it appears to revert back into what we would have done in childhood, whether that's having, an outburst, throwing things, yelling, hitting, a lot of these things that we just don't really feel like as an adult we should still be doing, right? Like we would have found other ways to communicate than that. But we can see that ultimately there can be where we revert back, right? And no matter how successful we are, no matter how much money we have, no matter how far we've come in age and wisdom, right? When that trigger goes off is when we see, what's truly in the unconscious, right? And often, especially if you've had childhood trauma, and I noticed for myself, it was a response of me trying to become safe again, right? Trying to build a wall up, trying to hide, play small, be little. The world will tell you that, especially as a woman, you are not even supposed to be talking to be heard. Like, you know what I mean? What did it say? Speak when spoken to, or women are supposed to be seen and not heard, right? All these different things that you may have heard before, right? And you may have heard enough that they have now become a part of your unconscious programming. So that little goddess inside of you, she feels so many different emotions, right? Scared, unloved, abandoned, lost, alone, lonely. Like all of these things are still unconsciously there, right? Again, we don't ever have to talk about the trauma that we feel, the effects to still be playing our lives, right? And that little goddess, that little girl inside of us is still continuing to go through being re-traumatized almost, right? And responding in the way, well, that situation isn't necessary. Of course, it's not the same situation, but it's bringing up, right, that fight. It's bringing up that fight or flight or freeze, right? That is giving and continuing to exert the energy of us not feeling safe, right? And of course, with all the things that we are tasked to do and have to do and should be happy to do and what women came to do, all of these things, it takes us out of a place for us to even give love to ourselves. So that little girl, that little goddess in you deserves love and safety. And how about we remind her a little bit of that right now? Right, so just take a deep breath for me, right? Close your eyes. Take another deep breath. Very good. Now just picture her in your mind. Right? Picture her, see her, your little goddess, little girl in you. She is you, still, always. Tell her, you are safe. You are loved. I've got you now. You are safe. And say your name. You are loved. I got you now. And give her a hug. And hug yourself. Give you a hug. You deserve this compassion. It can help to release that weight right now, bit by bit, by giving her some love and compassion, reminding her how she is safe. Thank you. Thank you. Got the thumbs up. So number nine of the 10 things that successful women who have dealt with childhood trauma need to hear is you don't have to be perfect to be lovable. You don't and never needed to be perfect to be lovable, right? Many of us, especially with childhood traumas, grow in a pattern, right, of needing to prove and developing this perfectionism. Trust me, right? We is in recovery right now, okay? But you think you need to be flawless, everything has to be perfect. It be taking so long to like turn the camera on to go live and share and serve the people, okay? But the truth is, you are perfect just the way you are, babe, and you are worthy. Okay? Those voices, I already know. I've heard them. I've had to silence them a time or two trying to tell me some nonsense like I ain't worthy, right? Like I ain't supposed to have what I want. Like I want too much. Okay. There is nothing you need to do to be the perfect you. And hear that. Because there's no other you, right? Like you are the best you out there. Can't nobody compete with the you that you are. That the expression of God that you came here on this earth to express and expand and build on and to serve the rest of these guys with, baby, you are perfect. I heard a gentleman I love, a neuro knowledge, right, on YouTube, say that part of how we get tripped up is that we are so busy trying to be perfect when you are perfect. And I said, oh, say that. That's the way to say that. Okay, I've heard it said in so many ways. But that was perfect. Like I felt it through my body. You came perfect. You are perfect. There was not a single thing that anyone could do to take you away from that or make you less than. They may have touched or violated this vessel, which we will heal, but you are much more than this. You are the all, the spirit of all divineness living inside of this vessel that you take care of, watch over, honor, appreciate, love on, but you are so much greater. As we see, we leave this thing when we leave this planet. All right, so never think that you are just this, okay? But please know that you came perfect, and there is nothing that you need to do to be perfect, right? You are lovable. You are love. And so I didn't talk about the book, but this is an opportunity to just kind of plug that a little bit. And Selfish is the New Sexy, which is my book. Amazon, go ahead and get it, the little red one. We talk about you have to give yourself what you want to receive from the world, right? You have to give yourself what you want to give the world, right? It's like you giving love or what you have been told love is, right? Which is overdoing it, draining yourself, hurting yourself, never saying no, not having boundaries, making sure you're here, twisting yourself there, being girl Armstrong, okay? And to be seen as lovable, right? To have to be the best of the best, show up, dressed to the nines, hair done, nail done, everything did, right? You got to be it all, okay? Be the mamas, take care of the men, silently lead the men, okay? Don't get no acknowledgement for it. You got to do a whole lot of things, right? On this here planet Earth, and you trying to do everything and get it all right and be perfect, be, everything for everyone to get love. And the problem is that you're not giving yourself any love through that, right? You're not recognizing, and part of why you're doing all that is that you feel that if you stopped and if you were not perfect in every area for everyone, then they would not love you, right? They would not want to be in your presence, right? And that's okay, right? It's still a fear, right? It's still fear that's coming from these traumas that are still underneath, unconsciously sitting there, growing, festering underneath the surface, right? Just sitting there like cancers, just growing and affecting every part of your life, making you feel like if you're not this and you must be this, or you won't be loved by them. I'm telling you, baby girl, you are loved. And the most important one who needs to love you is you. It is you. And the more you love you, the more they will too. And if they don't, then was that really someone that you really wanted to give all of your time and energy to? You deserve a little more than that, babe. So number 10. And just know you never had to be perfect to be loved. I love you. Okay. But 10 on the list of the 10 things that the successful woman with childhood trauma needs to hear is you're allowed to put down that armor. You are allowed to put down that armor. Ooh. So yeah, it's so near and dear to me, and it's such an interesting dichotomy because as a dominatrix, right, and helping women, there's this big idea that the dominant, which of course, right, we're definitely doing our leather, we definitely got our whips, our boots, we look, I got a couple things, but we got it on deck. But there's this idea of all this armor, right? All this strength, all this impenetrable, almost like there's no emotions, like you're never vulnerable, you are super tough, you're all these things. And that is a part, right? It's a part, right? You are definitely embracing the strength and at the same time embracing the softness, the vulnerability of who you are, of what you enjoy, of what you desire, of saying no, of absolutely putting up boundaries, of deciding which, whatever it is that you would like to be involved in and what you don't, right? To be able to be strong and to be vulnerable, to embrace the wholeness of who you are without apology. Right? Accepting that you laugh, that you cry, that you hurt, that you're happy, that you get to experience enthusiasm, excitement, pleasure, all of the range of emotions. You are allowed to feel safe enough to let go. And I'm saying that to you right now. You are allowed and deserve to feel safe enough to let go, my baby. You do. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed ease. You're allowed to delegate. You're allowed to take a vacation. You're allowed to move out the country. You're allowed to change your career. You're allowed to be in your strength and have it all together for the rest of the world. And you're allowed to say, you know what? I don't feel like I have it all together today. Today I need a rest day. Today I need a break. I'm not feeling my 100% that I like to be at. I'm not feeling in the energy of being around people. I'm feeling like I want to create a safe space for myself today. That is strength, right? That is the ultimate strength. To be able to have that armor, to have that strength, that resilience, and to be able to be vulnerable, and to be able to be in all of who you are, and take the time for you to rest and have ease and have others who can help you and serve you. And you deserve that. Because you're not meant to have armor on all the time. None of us are. In this world that will keep you fighting, okay? Keep you fighting. Okay, want you to keep the armor on. I'm telling you, one of the best things you will do unleashing your dominatrix with me will be to be able to put the armor down when you decide and to pick it up when you decide it's the best situation for it too, as you are meant to. All right, these people trying to have us not darn don't. See, and it's cute. Sometimes I get a little southern too. I'm from Jersey, but you will see my little southern accent come out at times. Don't be alarmed, but babe, I just want you to know that you are strong, you are powerful, and you are soft, and you are sweet, and you are amazing, and you are a whole being. Okay, you are all, and you are all of that. Okay. okay? Not just because of the success that you've achieved, not just because of how hard you work, not just because of how many people are depending on you, not just because of all the times that you say yes where you probably should say no, because you are you. You are perfect, you are whole, you are complete, you are the I am. You are the expansion on this earth who is here to experience this earth and this life as only you can, as the best and only version of you. So please never forget that, my love. And if you ever do, I will absolutely be here to remind you. Okay? So these are the things that, at least the 10 things that I wanted you to hear today. Because I know this world was created to put you in a mental prison, right? And make you a slave to reality. But now it's time that we change that up, okay? And we can make reality our slave, right? We can decide that it does not matter what we went through, what someone else has done to us, the labels, the, where you're a victim to this or survivor. You're whatever it is that you want to be, but ultimately, the only label that I would like for you to take on is the dominatrix of your life, the goddess in your life who is creating it, right? Who is moving past all of those things that were ended up being stepping stools for you to be the happiest, healthiest version of yourself. So, if you enjoy these, I would love to have you come over to Unleash My Dominatrix, subscribe for the list. We will definitely be having a webinar coming up very soon that I would love for you to attend, where we are going to be doing some amazing work. We're going to be having some instant results. We're going to be changing some lives, and we are going to stop this shame from running your life, because you don't deserve that. And I am so grateful that you shared this time with me, just a little bit over the time that I wanted to be. But ultimately, I'm grateful to be able to share this with you. I do intend that this has changed your life and helped you in some way, and that it will continue to. So check out my shorts, check out the Dom formations, okay? We got Dom formations that I need y'all sisters to be listening to as soon as you wake up and right before you go to bed, if no other time, so that we can start to change the unconscious things that are going on in you and transcend whatever trauma took you through. We done with that. It's 2025. It's another time, okay? So I have not been checking here, and just before I leave, I want to take a moment to just appreciate anyone who has been listening. I saw the thumbs up, thank you, and who will be listening later. I want to make sure that I'm not missing any questions. This is my first time using Restream, so I want to make sure, and I don't see any comments here, but I just want to make sure that there is no comments overall. And then, or any questions? Okay. Oh, I see. Hey. So funny. Okay, so we have so thank you for the love. I appreciate you all. Have a surprise live that I'm going to be doing tomorrow. That's going to be awesome with one of my mentors. I absolutely love this sister. I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but you will be getting more information about that. So I'm really excited about that. So I look forward to that tomorrow, 2 o'clock. I believe 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So thank you so much. And just know that there's one person who can change your life, and there looking at you